Welcome to the Color Club. Happy to hang out and color together. Had a nice time with this one. I wasn't sure at first what to do about a light source since there's no window or obvious light in the room. I figured out eventually though that I could use the stars like they're those glow-in-the-dark stars that a lot of kids have in their room. I always wanted them when I was a kid. Didn't have them myself. I always thought they were just really neat, like glow-in-the-dark things. I figure this guy, he really likes glow-in-the-dark stuff too. It's got a nice space theme here, space adventures. This red to me is very Spaceman Spiff from Calvin and Hobbes. The glow effect really starts to come together when I add the second color. I've been doing a lot of pieces recently where I only use 2 colors. So I chose this green for my glow, which I thought looked pretty spot on. It leans a little yellow, greenish yellow, more than a green blue. I only recently started to use the alcohol markers. It's been a lot of fun. Of course, I started with a 48 pack, I believe it was, and then quickly justified in my head purchasing more. So my marker collection has expanded quickly. I love how easy they are to use and how vibrant the colors are. I don't have to press down, keep it nice and smooth and light. I thought this would be fun after I did the stars to color the poster as if there were some glow-in-the-dark elements on these posters as well. Apparently, this child has really embraced their enjoyment of glow-in-the-dark room decor. It's a nice look. I can get behind that. Also, could not resist doing a glow-in-the-dark moon on his little shirt. Definitely relate to the concept of loving something and loving it a lot, really going all in. I also don't really know what it's like to enjoy something halfway. Bringing in my second color now, this dark, rich blue. Definitely getting lost in the process. Part of what brings me a lot of joy as I'm coloring these pages is tapping into that flow state. Just letting my brain autopilot for a bit and enjoying just the tactile, physical nature of creating this piece of art. There's something very calming and therapeutic about something as simple as just coloring. It's still tapping into that creative desire, creative spark. It's something I realized I need in my life. I get very sad if I have not created anything in a while. Something I enjoyed about this piece was how I could use the blue marker to cover some of my green and create kind of a third color here, a deeper green, just to add a little depth, a little interest. I knew when I started this page, when I committed to the glowy stars as my light source, that there was mostly going to be blue, that the room is predominantly in this shadow. The other lights are off, the curtains are drawn, the light is really just from these stars and minimally from the glow on the posters and Kiddo's shirt. It does slowly, as you see, the blue begins to have more and more presence as we fill in these spaces. I think one of the reasons I have enjoyed coloring like this is because it has tapped in for me to that childhood memory of what it was like to be a kid, and the toughest thing I had to do at school was color. I always enjoyed it, and I have such good associations with it. I liked getting to choose what colors I would use for a picture. A very serious decision. Coloring now brings me the same joy it did when I was a child myself. When I was growing up, I was a lot like this kid. I was a room kid. I loved being in my room, doing what I wanted to do with my special things. And I just enjoyed that time to myself. Often I was creating or creating stories very often is very imaginative as a child. I actually still remember the moment when I lost the ability to engage in that kind of imaginary play with, I was a big fan of stuffed animals, and I remember feeling very, very sad. And I channeled that loss into writing stories instead, because I couldn't stop completely being able to imagine these characters and ideas. I never really shared with too many people. That isn't why I did it. But I very much enjoyed as an adult finding ways to continue to tap into things I've loved my whole life since I was a kid. Coloring is one of those things now. And I continue to tell stories with my friends now. I'm a very active Dungeons and Dragons player. I love a lot of different tabletop RPGs. And I imagine that the character in this page might enjoy some similar activities. Sometimes you can just tell. This part was actually a very tricky piece to complete because I ended up having to split the edges, and I tried to keep both sides of my growing color here from drying out and creating a harsh line once I went back to it, and trying to keep the edges wet. It's something I've learned as I've begun to use more alcohol markers in these creations. And I did my best. I try very hard not to overthink it. Again, the joy for me here is being able to get lost and let go. To not have to worry about making the right decision all the time or how to optimize anything, but to just experience the moment and find that cozy, calm, and enjoy it. No deadlines, no emails. It's just for the fun of it. Just because it feels good to do. I don't plan too much when I do the pages beyond some initial decisions about what colors I want to use and where the light is coming from. I find this dark, dramatic light is very fun, but I usually go in with a little bit of a guide. I pencil in where that shadow line is. And I like doing that because when it does come time to add the color, I don't have to think about it. The decisions have already been made, and then it's just me and my markers. So my kiddo is not a room kid, which is so typical of kids in his generation, I'm discovering. when I'm coloring, he's often nearby. Our TV is on. My dishwasher is running. My pets are close. It's a calming experience, but not a quiet one. But I have found a lot of joy in that as well. Just being able to do this and still be near my family. In our cozy little house, which I love very much. It's just a joy to get to share that and appreciate each other's company as we call it parallel play. We all are doing what we enjoy. We're just in the same space. Sometimes we talk. Sometimes we just hang out. It suits us. I really enjoyed the colors here. I thought that the richness and the dark blue worked very well. And as I hoped and intended with this green to give it that glowy feel, which I wasn't sure what to do with this page initially until I thought about the glow-in-the-dark stars, and that became the key to the entire piece. I noticed while I was coloring that our character has a figurine that matches the space adventure on his poster. Again, I respect that you love what you love. I feel the same way. We're finishing up here. I had a great time coloring with you. I hope we can hang out again in our little color club.